chat room in Sikkim 365 Radio. We have the president of the Texas High School Coaches Association and now the head coach at Allen High School, the largest school in Texas, Lee Wiginton. We've known him since he was the coach at Mejia, even as on staff at Bosqueville, among others. He's been at Midlothian Heritage High School, joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. I know that this seems to be a move that most coaches would love to be the head coach at Allen. How difficult, Lee, was this decision?
Oh, you guys know me, so I'm just going to tell you that when you started asking that question, chills started going up and down my spine again, because it was the hardest decision that I've ever even considered. And like you said, to most people in this profession, it's an absolute no-brainer. Well, I can tell you it wasn't a no-brainer to me, and it wasn't a no-brainer because when you get in this profession, you don't get into it because of those things. You get into it because you love relationships, you love kids, you love the people you work with, you love the people you work for. And when you're in a place for 12 and a half years and you start thinking about that and that possibly coming to an end, you can't just make it a no-brainer. You know, there's real emotion involved. So yeah, it was tough just from that aspect.
Yeah, you were the only coach that Heritage has ever had. I mean, you started. That was your job. That's rare in the business.
No, that's not true. I'm the only head football coach that's played there. I'm not the only coach that's played there. This place was not designed or put together by one person. There's a whole lot of people involved in that, but I have been here since the school opened for sure.
So the expectations at Allen, would you compare them to the expectations Nick Saban has at Alabama?
Maybe. I don't know. I really don't get caught up into that end of it. What I get caught up into is whatever those expectations are, they frail in comparison to the expectations that I put on myself. I would think they probably want the absolute best. I expect, they probably think that the best means to win it all every year. You step on the field, you're expected to win every game. And that's the baseline expectations I have for a program, right? What ours are going to be is that's the expectations you have as a coach. That's what I have as a coach. When I wake up every year, I've done it. That's been the expectation. Then the expectation to follow that up is better be creating the best people we can create. We better be loving these people we work with, we're able to be with. We better be shaping their lives to help make their life after high school better, on top of those expectations that people just want to look at a scoreboard. So whatever the things that you talk about a score, that's where the expectations start in my world, and then they climb up from there.
Now, Lee, since I found out we were having you on the show, I've been thinking about back to our days when I was calling the Mejia games and you were the Mejia head coach, and a couple of things stick out to me. Can you, at this level, like you did in a couple games, on 4th and 11 from the 2-yard line, your own 2-yard line, go for it?
Yeah. Well, what you got to understand is things that I've done at any level don't always make sense. But what I'll also tell you is that I believe that this, calling this game is a game of feel. Analytics are huge to me. They always have been, always will be, and well before the term analytics got popular. I'm a math guy, and I've always lived in that world. But then there's also, I think that the problem with those that live and die by analytics is you take some feel out of the game. And I said, sometimes, there's just going to be a feel, and you just got to. I've always coached in a world of when I have that feel, then you trust it, and sometimes it might seem like it worked out luckily for you, and then sometimes it's the dumbest thing that's ever happened. But you got to accept it both ways.
I will add that the when you did that, the one I'm thinking about, it did work because the other team thought you were crazy. They're like, no way. They got 20 yards on it, boom, and then the new drive.
Yes, sir.
Lee, John King, who, of course, is an incredible friend of yours. You're now the president of the Texas High School Coaches Association. Of course, I've known John for the time he was assistant coach under Pat Collins at Longview. He couldn't resist. He told me that you're somebody that everything has to be pretty much in order, that everything has to be ready, focused or whatever. But he did want me to ask you about a couple of different meetings. when even the man who has a plan maybe even got a little bit out of whack, he could not resist telling me that.
Yeah. No, I bet he couldn't. But you said that I was president. He's the president. I'm president-elect, so I'll be following in his footsteps, which is a tremendous honor. But yes, sir, and he won't let me live that down. And yes, that happened and was embarrassing. And so what happened was there was a meeting that we had, and somehow it slipped my mind, and I'm out working in the yard. So I'm doing some yard work. I'm in my yard work attire, and I got a call and said, "Come into the meeting." I come in to get a drink of water. Is what happened. The phone's inside. I come in to get a drink of water, and the phone's ringing. I pick it up, and they said, "Are you coming to the meeting?" I said, "Coming to the meeting." "Oh yeah, I'm coming up there tomorrow." I said, "No, today." I said, "Today? When?" "Right now." And the meeting was about 40 minutes away, and I said, "Yes, sir. Be there. I'm changing clothes." And it got to the point they said, essentially, didn't say this, but this is what I heard and felt. "Don't come up here that late. It's going to be an embarrassment you walking in that late." And I said, "No, sir. I'm coming up. I'm taking this. I'll take what's coming my way." And walked in the meeting incredibly late.
Well, and I'm sure John King didn't say a word to you at the time.
Didn't say a word. No,
with his sarcasm as well.
Very, very, very encouraging and very supportive. Yeah, right.
There was a story yesterday evening from a station out of Houston about Texas high school football, the legislature, which I know gets involved in a lot of things athletics that are up and down the radar, but also, can you see NIL getting into the UIL system with high school athletes?
No, I can't see it not. I don't know when, but I can't see it not getting in. You know, it's in Louisiana right now.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say that, let's just bring up John King again. Okay, so now all of a sudden you're that close to Louisiana, and you've got this kid, and they're over there able to throw money at him, and you're talking. How hard is that going to be to keep them from just? They already moved schools for whatever reason they want to move. You know, what's going to keep them from now just going a little bit further and making a lot of money? So I think for a lot of reasons it's coming. So I think what's important in our world is because nobody knows anything about it. You know, even the colleges who are involved in it don't know enough right now. It's that ever evolving world. You know, so I think for us is we've just got to get educated on it so that we know how to protect our kids and our programs, but more importantly how we can educate the kids and educate the parents and educate our kids who've gone off to college already. You know, I think it's just, we just got to, I think the fight is not to keep it away, although we all want to because we don't feel good about it. The bigger fight is let's be on the forefront and let's figure out how to deal with this.
So unlike the NCAA.
Yep.
Unlike the NCAA. Is the biggest concern with that the tampering, and not that it doesn't happen already, the transfers, not that it doesn't happen already? Do you feel like it could become the Wild West?
Yeah, yes, that's definitely the biggest concern. You know, you have, you know, you could go two angles. You know, let's say you have this school that has the ability to have a lot of money, maybe, and you're able to wine and dine some people to get them to move over there. Okay. Or the worst case, and they're all bad, but the worst case of that is you get what we'd refer to as street agents, right? You get these people that maybe have no one's best interest in mind, and they're going up to people and giving them money and saying, "Hey, I want you to come over here. Maybe I'll get you playing with this guy. Let's get more people under my tutelage and make me look better," and, you know, different things like that, non-coaches and maybe whatever type people, you know. So just tampering and dirtiness, you know, just dirty.
Lee, Allen's the biggest school in Texas. That is not secure winning. Plano was for a long, long time, and all the various schools that have sprouted out. Plano, it's been a while now. Are there, because of that, are the expectations legitimate at Allen High School? And I know you've talked about that yourself earlier when I asked you about it, but because they're the largest school, does that put things out of whack?
You know, in terms of the expectations of winning, no, I don't think so. I mean, I think what when you talk Allen, and you can go, and you guys know that I've been at every level, so I'll just say, I mean, you can talk. You say, let's say South Lake, let's say Westlake, let's say North Shore, let's say Duncanville. Okay, now let's go Highland Park, let's go Aledo. You know, you just go on and on and on, and in our district last year, you have Stephenville, and you have Carthage, and you have Gilmer, and you have all these schools that they expect to win it all every year. So I don't think that anything associated with Allen's expectations are because of their size. I think they're the biggest school in Texas because of the biggest school in Texas. I think their expectations are what they are because they've won at a very, very high level for a very long time, just as those other programs that we've described, right? So I don't think that it matters any to them or to anyone saying, well, you know, because of the biggest, they're expected to win. You know, that's in very few classifications does that happen every year. You know, it's simply the programs that have won a long time, their expectations are typically higher than those that have struggled through up and down years or mediocrity. You know, and they're one of those that have won at a high level for a very long time.
How difficult is it to tell your players anytime you leave? Is that the hardest part? You said this was a tough decision. Yeah. I understand why. We know you well enough. How hard is that moment? No,
I mean, I can't put words to it. I mean, I prefer not to even talk about it.
Lee, everybody I know loves you, man, and there's a reason why you're the president-elect and why you're about to be the president here in July or whenever that time comes. I know John King loves you to death, so does everybody else. Paul did your games at Mexia. We ask this when a player commits to a school, wherever it's Baylor or whoever, a young man around here as well. How many text messages did you have when that story popped?
Oh, well, I'll tell you. So I don't know when it popped. All I know is when I'm talking to our coaches and our kids. And then after that, I had a commitment that I had to do a little presentation. And then I'm on the road going up to Allen to meet with the coaches there and the kids there. And during that presentation, I look at my phone and there's 320 text messages. So during that, I was able to knock out about 140 of those. And then I hustled home as early as I could last night from Allen and got home at about 6:45. Got home, sat down, and at 10:55 had replied to my last one. It was just nonstop. And when I got back on there was well over 400. So I don't know what the number was, but I know this is that there's a lot of people in this world. You talk about it, and to me, when I leave coaching and I leave my time on this earth, I hope people understand that to me, I do, and I'm going to compete and I'm going to coach my tail off to be the absolute best we can be in everything we do. But to me, this is all about relationships, and that never was more clear to me than yesterday. I mean, people that I've known for a very, 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 very long time. Bosqueville athlete after Bosqueville athlete after Bosqueville athlete, Mexia athlete, Mexia coach. I mean, all those places that you guys were around me, and it was very, very touching.
We appreciate the time. I know you have other people who want to talk to you as well. We appreciate you giving us time, Lee. Congratulations on it. We'll be in touch, and good luck, man. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you guys so much. Yep. You guys have a blessed afternoon.
You too. Lee Wiginton, head coach at Allen High School. Kyler Murray, among many others. Bunch of state championships. There have been some big boys in the Dallas area that have kept them from doing that, along with a couple of schools out of the Houston area as well. They are loaded. Former Midway head coach Terry Gamble was there. And then, of course, Chad Morris for 1 year after Terry left. That didn't work. Well, 11-3 didn't work out very well. He just moved on, and wouldn't be surprised to see him back in the college profession as well.
Well, I'm glad that at least Texas has better leadership than the NCAA. That says a lot, quite a bit. Says quite a bit. And I'm glad that they're going to be proactive. And I'm glad he's being honest about just NIL and high school legislation and what all comes with that. And he's smart. There's a reason why he's president-elect. Many reasons, I'm sure. But to be proactive and how do we deal with it more so, oh, my gosh, this can't happen, is the best way to do it. I mean, that's the smart way to do it. But, you kind of touched on some of the issues that could arise. And I think about the fact that there are Louisiana high schools that like Longview has to worry about poaching their. I just think that's so silly and ridiculous, and I can't believe adults are involved in this. Like, that is the saddest thing. Like, I understand that there's some guys that transfer from high school to high school. I remember we had a kid from Crosstown who transferred to our basketball team, and they got immediately better. Ended up going and playing at Cincinnati, and I'm sure he could have gotten an NIL deal back then. And that would have been great for him. I would have been happy for my friend. But when we're talking about like crossing state lines to poach kids so that you might win a couple extra games or that state title that no one outside of your community really even thinks about, I just think that that is just silly. And maybe I'm alone on that, but that's to me getting to a point where, you know, again, what's name, image, likeness supposed to be about? Supposed to be about and what does it turn into? It's turned into high schools crossing state lines to go buy players under name, image, likeness to win a state title that no one gives two S's about outside of 100 miles. Like, this is just the dumbest thing in my opinion. But
Craig, I don't think I've ever agreed with you more on any individual thing. I mean, I could not. I don't know. I couldn't live with myself if I was sitting in a room and somebody said, see that guy? We brought him in here from, East Texas, and we're going to win the Louisiana state title. I went, oh, my God.
Who cares?
Was that worth it to you?
Yeah. I mean, and again, what kind of money are we talking? That's what I would be interested to know. I do know there's basketball players. There's one who signed like a Puma deal. But he's not at a North Carolina high school. He's his dad runs an AAU team, basically, so they're allowed to do it that way. And ultimately, maybe he could be at a North Carolina high school and will be able to make NIL, and that, again, would be great. But we're getting into, like, tampering in high school athletes and things like that. I just think that's the silliest thing, and where are the adults? I mean, yeah, the money's great, but, man, everything else is just kind of a mess.